All right, let's talk about something that trips up so many teams. We're going to dive into a major shift in thinking, moving away from those rigid, often fragile plans and into a world where we actually reduce risk by, well, by embracing reality. Let's get right into it.
Does this sound familiar? I mean, your team is shipping features like crazy, the metrics are going up, but you still have that nagging feeling. Did we actually solve the right problem? You're not alone. This isn't just a random frustration. It's a huge sign that there might be a flaw in how we've been taught to work.
So, what's going on here? Well, the root of the problem actually has a name. It's called the planning fallacy. The thing is, in complex work, and let's be honest, software development is definitely complex, we just can't know everything up front. The future is a mystery, which means any big, detailed, long-term plan is really just a collection of our best guesses.
For decades, the old way of management has been all about what's called defined process control. Just picture a car assembly line. You know the inputs, you know every single step, and you know exactly what's going to roll off the line at the end. And you know what? That works beautifully when you're solving the same problem over and over again.
But our work isn't an assembly line, is it? So what happens when you're navigating the messy world of new technology, shifting markets, and customers who change their minds? That predictable, comfortable process, it doesn't just bend, it shatters.
And this brings us to a really critical choice. We're looking at two totally different ways of working. One that's designed for a world of certainty, and another one that's built to actually thrive in uncertainty.
And here you can see the difference laid out plain and simple. On the left, you've got the defined process, our assembly line. It expects predictable results because all the steps are known from the get-go. But over on the right, you have the empirical process. This one's totally different. It's designed for discovery and learning. It literally expects the unexpected, which is absolutely essential for any kind of innovative work.
Let's make this super simple. Think about making your coffee this morning. You probably have a little process, right? You use the same amount of coffee, the same temperature of water, and you brew it for the same amount of time. And boom, you get the same delicious result every single time. That is a perfect defined process. But now, let's say you're a barista, and your job is to create a brand new signature drink. There's no recipe. You have to experiment. You try a combination, you taste it, and you adjust. Maybe it needs a little more foam or a different kind of syrup. You are constantly checking the result and changing your process. That right there is empiricism in action. Now, this whole idea of experimenting and learning, it's not just some clever trick. It's actually based on a really powerful philosophical idea, and it's the engine that runs frameworks like Scrum. And that big idea is called empiricism. At its heart, it's actually pretty simple. It says that real knowledge comes from real experience. You make your decisions based on what you can actually see and verify. It's the foundation of the scientific method, and yeah, it's the powerhouse behind modern Agile frameworks.
So what does this mean for us, really? It means we stop pretending we have a crystal ball. We stop wasting all that time on incredibly detailed long-term plans that, let's be honest, are probably doomed to fail. Instead, we build a system for learning, a continuous loop of adapting based on real-world evidence.
This system is built on three essential pillars. They're all connected, and they're what make this whole empiric thing actually work.
These three pillars create this incredibly powerful feedback loop. You have transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Now, they're not standalone ideas. They completely depend on each other. Think of it like a three-legged stool. If one leg fails, the whole thing comes crashing down. So, let's break them down.
First up, everything, and I mean everything, starts with transparency. You can't fix what you can't see, right? Transparency just means creating a shared understanding of what's really going on, where everyone involved sees the same facts about the work, both the good and the bad. No sugarcoating.
Okay, so once everything is out in the open, then we can have a meaningful inspection. This is our reality check moment. It's where we frequently and very deliberately look at what we're building and check our progress. Are we actually heading in the right direction? Is this what our customers really need? But here's the crucial part. Inspection without adaptation is totally pointless. It's like seeing a warning light pop up on your car's dashboard and just ignoring it. Adaptation is the action. It's the adjustment we make based on what we just learned. We change our plan to get closer to our goal.
And look, these pillars aren't just abstract theories. If you're using a framework like Scrum, you've got specific formal events designed to bring them to life. The daily Scrum, that's for inspecting progress and adapting the plan for the day. The sprint review, you're inspecting the product with stakeholders to adapt future plans. And the retrospective, that's where you inspect the team's process to adapt how you work together. Okay, so we've got the theory, we've got the events, But how do we make sure our inspections are actually effective? How do we turn just looking at things into smart, intelligent action?
Here's a super simple, practical way to think about it. First, you spot a signal in your data. Maybe you see that a bunch of users are dropping off at a certain point in your app. Second, you form a testable hypothesis, something like, if we change the button text right here, then the drop-off rate will go down. And third, you slice vertically. That just means you build the smallest possible thing that actually works so you can test that hypothesis, hopefully within a single sprint.
And this is exactly why this approach is so incredibly powerful. I mean, just look at the quote, using real data from real users. It's not a magic bullet, but it gets us so much closer to the truth than just relying on opinions or those feel-good vanity metrics ever could. You're making decisions based on reality, not just wishful thinking.
So, when you put this all together, this whole empirical approach, it does way more than just help you build better products. It fundamentally changes how you deal with risk.
And really, this is the key takeaway. The cycle of transparency, inspection, and adaptation is a powerful engine for reducing risk. With every single loop, you are systematically replacing a risky assumption with actual, concrete knowledge. And that doesn't just lower the risk of building the wrong thing, it fosters a culture of continuous improvement.
And that brings me to a final thought for you. In your own work, right now, think about all the assumptions you operate under every single day. What is just one thing your team treats as an absolute fact that you could design a small, simple experiment to actually test? Because the answer to that question might just be your team's next big breakthrough.